Today, we will be sharing the best postcard for getting listings right now. We'll show you exactly what it looks like, how you can swipe and deploy and start using it immediately to get more listings. We'll also share some simple tips and strategies for improving the effectiveness of the postcard when using it, and then 5 very specific use cases. In other words, how to use the postcard and when to use the postcard and with what types of audiences to use the postcard. There'll also be some information on how you can tap the easy button when it comes to this, whether you want to use the postcard or even bolt it onto one of the strategies that we'll share as one of those 5 use cases for when it will make sense to use this. We will have a guest coming on any minute here. He's coming from another meeting, and it's one and only Ryan Hartman. 2 weeks in a row, we've got him coming on. And the reason why Ryan is here is to share the postcard, number one, but he has some data and feedback and case studies of the postcard in action from agents all throughout the country, and he'll be able to do that. And then we'll show you how you can automate a lot of this to create more conversations with those sellers. Now, I've put together a document that is specifically for this session. So I'm going to drop that in the chat. However, if you're watching the live stream in our Facebook group, drop a comment and I'll get that to you there as well. And if you're watching this after the fact, just drop a comment or email me at josh@growwithjosh.com and I'll send you this document. And while we're waiting for Ryan to hop on, I'll share what we're going to be covering here from the document. Let me copy it and go ahead and drop that in the chat. Everyone. There we go.
Josh, can you hear me?
Oh, there you are.
Good morning. I'm in here.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Add pin. All right. Good. So this is what we're going to walk through. And before I turn it over to Ryan, I want to resources that will be referenced throughout. So first and foremost, thanks.io. Now, if you want to use this strategy and use this postcard, etc., and you don't have a Thanks account yet, go to growwithjosh.com/thanks to grab your account. And the Thanks team can help you with the implementation of this postcard in any of these 5 use cases, or if you have another use case as well. If you're going to implement, I would say either 1, 2, or 3 on this list here of the use cases, you're going to want to build a targeted list or audience to send the postcard to. And my recommended resource, and what I've been using for years now for that piece of the puzzle, is PropStream. And you can get a free trial at growwithjosh.com/PS. Now, if and when you do, make sure you email me because I can get you free marketing credits with your trial, and everybody loves free. And then if you haven't already done so, you should check out, not right now, but after this session, check out the training at buildwithjosh.com, because number 5 on our use cases is a beautiful way to bolt on this strategy with a buyer lead funnel, for example, new construction or downsizer funnel, so that you can not only get activity on the buyer side, but also get the listing side of those leads that are coming through. It's working really well. And we'll probably even show in just a week or two how many people we've added as listing opportunities to our direct mail pipeline from the new construction funnel in my market area. And yeah, it's working pretty well. Pretty fun and exciting. Ryan, where should we start?
You have the postcard, so you never shared the doc with me, so I'm unprepared. I have no idea what we're doing.
I did share the doc, liar, pants on fire.
I probably missed it. I'm a little over. Just let's bring up the example postcard. I assume we're talking about the full background street image card, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're giving away the goods early here. We're just giving the whole enchilada right up front.
We don't need to mess around. So have you sent this one yet?
So I don't think any have landed in a mailbox yet.
So I can show scan rates on the few that we have done, but basically...
Yeah, this is what has us most excited and why I touted this as the best postcard to send right now to get more listings.
Yeah. So we recently made 4 full street view background images, templates. But before, they were small and the house wasn't as prominent. And we did it as a test. We actually did it to make designing cards with QR codes a little easier for ourselves. But the happy accident here is that we're finding that pretty much everybody who's sending this card is getting higher scan rates than we've seen on the other cards. And the theory, it makes total sense, is that the picture of the recipient's house is just bigger. It's simply bigger, and it's more.
It's more of a pattern interrupt when they get it in their mailbox.
Yep. So the language Josh is using is the wondering how much a buyer might pay. I'm doing all kinds of different variations of this. I do see how much a buyer might pay, get your free home report now. All of these are variations on a theme that all seem to work similarly. Now, Josh, you're using iList, right?
So a quick aside here, I forgot to include this as one of the resources. I'll have to add that to the doc. So when I'm sending this and someone scans this QR code, I'm sending them to a seller dashboard specifically for their property, and I'm using iList to do that. They will be able to explore 4 unique automated valuations or automated estimates of value, etc. Valuations might be too fancy a word, but regardless, it's working. And then they can also explore cash offer options. Now, next week, I'm having Joe on because he's made some significant updates and upgrades to the platform. And so he's going to be sharing that. And I'm going to be sharing end-to-end an action plan that I started using yesterday that has already generated me. I have 6 phone appointments, I think, from a text and email script. Actually, I haven't even used the email script because I've been so busy just from the text script. Tomorrow, the email script is going out to open a conversation. And then I'm using iList to get preliminary offers that give me something of value to then have an appointment, a conversation with the potential seller. However, you can make this QR code go wherever you want, right? You don't have to have iList, but if you want an interactive dashboard and it creates a nice user experience for the recipient, they don't have to log in, they don't have to enter any information. They literally scan the QR code and they're taken directly to their dashboard. And I know that some of you have already scanned that QR code because Thanks has sent me a text message to say someone scanned the QR code for 1407 Eldon Dean Terrace.
Raise your hand
on the postcard.
Oh, wait, no,
I just got another one.
Yeah, they're scanning this card. That highlights a cool feature of this is that you can dynamically personalize not only the messaging in the card with the address and recipient's name, but also the QR code.
This is too cool. Look at this. These are the notifications I'm getting. It has the actual postcard that they scanned. That is amazing.
We just started doing texts. We used to do just emails. We just started doing the text a couple weeks ago.
So that's if someone scans the QR code, you can get a text message that says the person just scanned the QR code. Wouldn't it be great to then follow up with those people and just ask the simple question? So here's the follow-up. This isn't even about today's session, or I wasn't even planning to share this. But when they do that, you call them and ring, hey, is that Ryan?
Yeah.
This is Josh.
What's up, Josh?
Yeah, Josh Shanley with eXp Realty. It looks like you were checking out the value at 1407 Eldon Dean Terrace. What has you curious about the value?
My neighbor sold this house for a crap load of money. I just wondered if mine's worth that.
Right on. And again, that wasn't the point of this session, so we're not going to continue past there.
Let's keep doing that. It's fun.
Yeah, but that phone script, I actually shared that phone script last night. I swiped it from Alex Hormozy. It is killing it. Is that so-and-so? This is Josh. And then pause, because then they go to work trying to figure out, Josh, who's Josh, whatever. And sometimes they realize who Josh is, and that's wonderful. And sometimes they don't. But in either case, their defenses are lowered. And then they're more open to sharing information and having a conversation with me. At least the early returns on that or what's happening so far.
Yeah. And that becomes a lot easier if you're merging in the email and the phone. You're pushing people into Thanks, and the email and the phone exist in the Thanks system. The way you're doing it, Josh, with your Facebook ads, or you're just uploading your existing sphere, depending on the scenario. Then you get it on your phone. You have the number right there. You can email straight from there. You can even text straight from there. So do you want me to show some of the results on the early card?
Yes, please. I think let's show proof that we're not just making this up, that I didn't just pull this salacious headline out of the thin air.
Yeah, and I think a number of people, I'm just going to show the best one, but I have another one with similar numbers.
Perfect.
But I think the people on this call, a number of them know that we've gotten pretty good scan rates in the past off of these cards. And like I said, they're just higher with the full body background. But this one went out to 608 recipients. You can see here a little tag. I know this is small on the screen, Josh. I don't know if it's too small. Let me try to make it bigger. We'll just do it like this for now.
Okay.
So the spend was $443. So some investment to send 600 postcards.
Yep.
You see here where it says 50% equity plus. This is Thanks.io's built-in mailing list generator. We'll say the prop stream stuff's going to probably be better because we're not real estate focused 100% at Thanks.
Yep.
If you can get a list from them, get one, but you can do some stuff like equity or people with high net worth. So this went to people with 50% plus home equity, meaning you take the listing, you've got a chance to, you're not going to have people underwater, or you can price it and probably in this market do something. Also, Josh, I'll mention, I want to try this for mortgage. So see how much cash out you can get. Similar message.
Yeah.
And then, so what we got was 47 scans on the 608, and I just brought up the calculator, 7.7% response rate. So every door, if you're doing every door direct or just regular direct mail, 1 or 2% is going to be pretty good.
I would say that 0.5% is like normal.
Yeah, 0.5% to 1%. We were seeing with the smaller images of the background, we were consistently seeing big 2 to 4%. But the first few that I've seen actually, because we only launched these full backgrounds like 3 weeks ago, the first few campaigns that have hit are coming in like this over 5%.
Yeah.
So what I like about this, 47 scans, you can actually see 4 people repeat scanned. Either they had problems with their phone or they went back and scanned again. This is 47 people who you can now do some pretty targeted follow-up to.
Which, if you're doing math, that's less than $10 per lead, essentially. The total spend was 443. We got 47 scanners. That's 47 people that are interested for some reason or another. I would say that is absolutely the equivalent of someone opting in from a Facebook or Google ad with their address about the value, if not considerably better.
Yeah, and if you're running a Google ad for this, you're going to be over $50 a lead. You have to,
for sure,
just because what clicks cost and the opt-in rates and everything. And not to mention that the traffic's just not really available for those keywords on Google. Well, yeah, so under 10 a lead. Josh, in my head, a few things come to mind. What if you only did this and you just spent the next 2 days dropping off CMAs at the door? Because this went to one neighborhood. It's all within 500 people within a mile or two of each other in a neighborhood.
So Jay's already ahead of the game. Jay asked, can we retarget those 47 scans automatically? Yeah. And yes, and Ryan will show that. You're ahead of the game. Related to what you said, Ryan, what if my head goes to this? The 47, or actually, the 4 repeats, those are the ones that I'm going to show up at their house, maybe. Anyway, one more time. The 4 repeats, those would be the ones that I would invest the most time, energy, and effort in. The 43 non-repeats, I would probably personally call and email, and just the curiosity hook. What had you curious about the value, or what had you interested in checking out the value? If you have the time, just show up at all 47.
You can click on the house and it will link over to Fast People Search. In a lot of cases, you'll get a phone number or whatever. See right here. This was a cold list. This wasn't the agent's house list. They built it with us. So now you've got, if you want to try these numbers, you can. And a lot of times you can see if the name's similar or whatever. You get the estimated equity and stuff in here too. Josh, the other thing to answer the automated retargeting, if they're landing on a digital website, which they always are, if they're scanning the URL, and you have your Facebook pixel and your Google pixel and stuff going there, you would just do traditional retargeting that way.
Yep.
We, not too long ago, we started creating an all scans list automatically. Thanks. So anybody who scans any QR code at all for any of your lists just lands on this list. So now you've got a hyper responsive, with email marketing, a lot of people will segment whoever clicked, and then you know that list is responsive. Now you have a clue that maybe you just mail every quarter or every month, you just mail these people again.
Yep.
Which can be automated through our campaigns functionality. So if I click campaigns, I can say, hey, go ahead. Oh, and Josh, I'm lazy. I would probably just keep sending the same card once a month.
Or here's what you could do too. This is the beautiful thing about Thanks. There are many beautiful things about Thanks. You could build out, let's say, a 5-touch over 5-week campaign just for the scanners, because you know that there's some reason why they were curious, and it could be a gift card bribe, it could be a letter, it could be another postcard, or a combination thereof. And then it's a 5-week, and I just picked 5 arbitrarily, 5 pieces over 5 weeks, and then it's one every month, and it could be the same one, or you could just rotate those throughout, and then every scanner goes into that separate bucket, and you're spending more money with people that have already shown through their behavior to be more responsive.
Yeah, so this is Brett's campaign. We've talked about his he does exactly this. So he gets a scan and then they start seeing stuff like this. Thank you for taking the time. This is a little note card. One of my favorite things that he's doing is a review message. I want to take a time to share what others are saying. And then he's asked for a review, but he has this image template that's just this. It's the front end is just screenshots of his reviews from Google.
Yep.
So yeah, just some automated follow-up you can do there. And yeah, so what you can do is all those scanners land on a list and then you send a sequence. Josh, last week, did we talk about the AI thing or was that not out yet?
If we did, it was very surface level or very quickly. So why don't you share that, and then let's talk about some of the different use cases, and also before that even, some simple ideas to get a little bump in response.
Yep. So we did, if you're in the real estate industry, you see where it says real estate CMA, let's go. This is all AI, but this would be a good follow-up letter or even an initial letter in the sequence to try instead of postcards. But basically, I hope this message finds you well. I wanted to share some recent home sales. And the AI, without an IDX tie-in or an MLS agreement or anything, it's just going on the web and finding some recent sales and saying these sales indicate a strong market. If you're thinking about selling your own home or know somebody who is, let me know. And this is 100% just created on the fly. It's actually unique every time. It's dynamic. So that could be placed in a campaign sequence to all your scanners as well to go out once a quarter. So you don't have to do a lot of work to create the follow-up stuff. But yeah, where did you want to go next?
So let's cover the 5 example use cases, because that'll be a good way to weave in some ideas for how to get an even better response rate. And Ryan, since you're sharing your screen, in the chat is the Google Doc. I think you should see it there if you want to open it up. So use case number 1, as I see it, is for just listed, pending, and just sold. And I just had one go pending in my neighborhood that I was the listing agent. And so I'm going to be sending a pending postcard around that. Now, in some cases, when I've sent pending or just listed before, I've put the house that went pending or just sold. But let's face it, this template where we're showing the other person's or the recipient's house full, I'm going to put it there, and then I'm going to use the copy to point out the fact that your neighbor's house at blank address just went pending under contract. When it sells, it will affect the value of your home right here, and we'll weave that in. So that would be one, just listed, pending, and just sold. And also, just an aside, Thanks has its own just listed, just sold engine as like the easy button. And you can check that out at I think it's just listed, just sold.info. So that would be one use case. Okay.
Do you want to show that, or do you not have that one built?
I don't have it built, but that's a perfect follow-up. So what I'm going to do is later today or tomorrow morning, I'm actually going to send that, and I will add that to the document so that you can see an exact use case of just went pending under contract. Or yeah, we could build it here right now. Why not?
Well, it's pretty. I just want to show how quick this is. So instead of doing the street view as your background image, you would just grab a picture of a property. So I'm just grab any random house just for speed's sake here. So you grab a picture of the property that just sold or just went pending, and then you would just upload it here. And that becomes your full background, right?
Yep.
And then subheader, scan the QR to learn more.
I'm curious in a use case like this, how the scan rate would compare using the image that's not theirs, but it's still a full image of a property they would probably recognize because it's in their neighborhood versus theirs. We're probably splitting hairs, to be honest. It'd be interesting to see what that would look like.
Yeah, so if I hit the preview, it's going to show a picture of their neighbor's house, just went pending. Scan a QR to see what your property might sell for today.
Yep.
Naturally, on the message side, people are going to want to know what it sold for. That's the idea.
Test on the backside of this, which weaves into my bullet point number 2 that I was going to share. In this example, something that I'm testing digitally and on direct mail is the PS is going to be text me if you'd like to know how many, or if you'd like information on activity, number of showings, and full written offers or something like that. I'm going to clarify what that is, but I want to get them to reach out to me if they'd like more information on activity. And then we could even talk about, I might even share in that instance or hint at what we sold it for. Right? Technically, you shouldn't really disclose that until it's settled, but I could let them know we had blank offers over asking kind of thing. And I've used that copy. I've tried it on where I've included all of that information on the backside of this, and I'll probably do that when it's just sold. In other words, I'm going to send a pending postcard, and then I'm going to send to the same audience a just sold postcard once we actually settle. And in the just sold, I'll actually give the numbers. We had this much activity, we had this many showings, we had this many written offers, blank of them were over asking, blah, blah, blah. And then the call to action will be, if you'd like to chat about selling your home here in the neighborhood this summer or fall, call or text me at this number. But I thought that was maybe a good way, teasing some quote unquote insider information as a way to get them to respond and start a conversation. Because the text scan is one thing, and that's wonderful, and it's getting them taking an action. If I could get one or two also to call or text me, now we're in direct conversation.
Yeah. So here was my spin on that. Address is one pending. We have other buyers looking in the neighborhood. If you're at all thinking about a sale, let me know. P.S. Text me if you'd like to know what the final selling price of this property is once it's sold. You're going to get engagement. Josh, you probably don't even know this is possible, but this whole thing could be automated when a property goes pending in KV4. Like the whole card can go out to neighbors now, because what we did was you put the base template in, you would merge in the subject property as a custom one, basically. And then can the other side be, I think you can even automate the image creative, but basically we built in our campaigns the neighbor blast functionality. I'm going a little extra geek here with you, and this is the same for Just Listed Just Sold, where you can say, okay, if an address hits this mailing list, send a card template to the 25 or 100 nearest neighbors anytime they hit that mailing list.
This is a beautiful time for me to weave in the call to action that you should check out buildwithjosh.com, because we can build all of this out for you at no cost to you other than the actual cost of the postcards. And we can also, we'll get to number 5 here, but bolt on the direct mail to a new construction funnel or a downsizer funnel. By the way, Brett Furman, the example that Ryan showed earlier, he's running a downsizer ad on Facebook and Instagram, and then is bolting this on when they match up the fact that the person that opted in already owns a home currently. All right, just listed, just sold, pending. Number 2, traditional geofarming. And that was the example that Ryan had showed early on. Now, I say traditional, but really that wasn't, traditional would be like every door direct mail, you're literally hitting everybody, but they took that a little bit beyond the traditional in that it was to homeowners with high equity in a geographic farm area, right? So it could just be blanketing everyone, or you could use some of this functionality, or as I mentioned earlier, you could build a list with PropStream, and then you can have all kinds of filters, and you could overlay different filters with that as well. So there's lots of ways that you can get to the desired end result, but don't let that get in the way of doing something, right? Like just get something out where it's applicable. Pick one of these 5 use cases and do something with it. The idea number 3 that I had here, the example that I gave with this, I just called it niche farming. So go into PropStream, choose a zip code or a city, or even just draw an area and build a list that is just people with a high foreclosure factor. That's AI that PropStream has added to their platform. You could also do pre-foreclosures, but I think the pre-foreclosures, they're probably starting to get bombed with mail and maybe even cold calls. The high foreclosure factor, you might be able to catch them before some of that happens. And so you could build that list and send out that card or some variation of that card. The text script, I'm going to tease this here. I'm going to open up a loop, which next week, I'm going to close that loop with the full action plan. But the text script that I sent yesterday that worked like gangbusters, that I think also would work incredibly well as a postcard script is, would you be at all open to entertaining offers for your property at blank address? And so I think that would be great on the front of the card with their house there, and sent to people with a high foreclosure factor in a target demographic area or geographic area that you want more listings in. That's going to get you more than nothing by sending it. You could also, number 4 on here, your SOI or past clients. This is like a beautiful set it and forget it. You can add them as a mailing list in thanks, and then you could set it up to have a multi-touch staggered send for a year or 2 years. You could literally just set it and forget it, and it could be just this postcard, or you could even alternate that CMA letter, or what are you calling that letter, Ryan? AI CMA letter. So you could automate or alternate that, and you could have it be 4 touches throughout the year, 6 touches throughout the year. You choose. It could be 12. You really get to choose, but you can set that up once. And
yeah, I would alternate it every other month or every other quarter, depending on your budget.
yep.
But if you send the letter and then the postcard, you repeat that. Say you did 6 touches a year. I'm just doing the math real quick. At $2, you're at about $6 a homeowner.
Yeah.
To get 6 touches from you a
Yeah.
year with good actionable 6 touches. So can you convert 1 in 100 of those to a listing?
Yeah.
So I'm just doing the math out loud. Also, just to mention, if you have your old sphere of influence in your database, but you don't have physical street addresses, we can find about 60% of them.
So I'm going to announce, I'm going to mention this publicly because I had to tell Ryan anyway. I've been having some great conversations with agents about what we're doing with Build with Josh and strategies like what we're sharing here, et cetera. And I talked with a great agent in California, and she is generating a very consistent flow of buyer leads, but wants more listings. And so I'm going to be connecting, Ryan, you with Anna to first and foremost, like before she does anything else, we want to bolt on this functionality so that every buyer lead she generates, we're going to try and match as a homeowner. And she's successfully using iList and the cash offer verbiage or hook. And so weaving that into what she's doing on that front will immediately create more listing opportunities, or at least conversation opportunities with homeowners in that area. And she's got 3,000 buyer leads she's generated over the last year and a half.
1,500 legit homeowners in that list. I would just cut it in half, and then we could probably find about 60% of us, probably find about 1,000 people who have already been getting email and text communications from her, who now start getting mail from her.
Yeah. So her biggest problem is going to be how much budget she wants to allocate to this is the reality. But let's say she had 1,000 from that. She could set them up on a touch every month and the staggered sending. So she's spreading out the budget and a combination of the postcards or just the same postcard every month or every quarter. There's any number of ways that could work. And then lastly, and Ryan's kind of already digging around on this last one. Lastly, the 5th idea here or use case is bolting this on to your existing lead generation that you're already doing, an existing campaign or funnel that you're already running. We've mentioned it a couple of times already, but Brett Furman with his downsizer funnel, Anna with the buyer lead generation that she's using. And for me, I've got a new construction funnel in Mechanicsburg that we just, you've got Brett's here, but we just added this email address matching about a week and a half to 2 weeks ago. And we're seeing right in line with what Ryan mentioned last week on this session, 60 to 70% match rate of people who opt in. They're opting in for information about new construction homes in Mechanicsburg, and then we're matching up a physical address to them, and we're hitting them from both sides. We're direct mail, and they just today actually might be the first that they start landing in mailboxes, but we're hitting them from multiple sides, multiple touches. They're getting texts. I call the leads, and if I get their voicemail, I'll leave a voicemail. If they pick up, I'm using the phone script that I mentioned from my guy Hormozy. And then if I start showing up in their inbox or their mailbox as well, it becomes an overwhelming amount of evidence that when they're ready to transact, I'm the guy.
Yeah, so 264 Facebook leads out of 264 address matches out of 400. The math is around 66, 2/3.
Yep.
And yeah, like you're saying, and I don't know if people know, you can't collect the address on Facebook. Facebook doesn't let us because we're in real estate. Yeah, so $5 a lead plus another. You call them mail like insurance. You spend another $5 a year mailing them, $6 a year mailing them. And can you get a 1% conversion?
And Ryan, I have an incredible idea I want to implement with this that I'm not even ready to reveal here yet. That this is another tease, but I'm going to start sending a piece for this that I think will have like dramatic improvement to response rate, and it'll be a piece that they will hold on to and potentially share with others that I'm like incredibly excited about it. What's that?
You're not going to share it?
I'm not, we will, but I want to implement it first. I don't want to just throw the idea out. I want to actually put it into action first. And also I got to make sure that I do it legally and compliantly in PA. I just have to make sure that we're doing it in a way that doesn't get me in trouble. Yeah. And once I have that, then we'll obviously share that on one of these sessions and make it such that anybody who might be interested in R&Ding that, you can as well. But let's face it, the shelf life of an email or a text message or a voicemail is very limited. but direct mail still has a shelf life. If you can interrupt the pattern to get them to look at it and then make some kind of connection with them, it being relevant to them because it's about their property, the likelihood that they will put that on their refrigerator or in their whatever, their junk pile and come back to it it's just a lot better than any email or text or voicemail or direct message that you might send them.
I saw at the Unite conference a couple of weeks ago, somebody was talking about AI. I forget his name, but he mentioned this idea of using GPT to do sketch-based drawing sketches of house images.
Ooh.
So I'm trying to wrap my head around it. It's a little cumbersome because you can see it takes a minute to render this.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a more automated way to send people a drawing sketch of their home because that's something they probably put on the fridge.
That would be pretty cool.
Wait for this thing to render. But if you really want to hit one specific homeowner, this is an idea.
Yeah.
I see this being cool for a happy house anniversary. Hey, it's been a year since you bought your house. Just figured I'd share this sketch drawing for fun.
Yeah.
Here it comes.
Pretty cool. Celeste asked about the tracking URLs. Can you explain how that works with this?
Yeah, let's let that render. So in our dynamic card builder, I go right here and I use our dynamic image builder. When I'm putting a URL in here, I'm just going to do ilist.com. I can add parameters to the end of this URL. We're getting a little geeky here, but I can say name equals, and then append our data tags about the recipient. So these are all in the thanks system attached to them, but we can append their first name, for example, and email equals email.
And so if you're using iList like this, you don't have to figure out this. You'll just get a link that you need to put in there and it'll dynamically match to their property.
So in theory, you could have the page they visit be dynamically personalized to them.
Yep.
In iList case, they're using that info to do the auto login.
Yep.
There's a few questions in the chat too, guys.
Oh, thanks. Yep.
Yeah, I was getting to those, James. Am I missing something? I just got Celeste, Isabel. We'll get to yours in a second. That one just came in.
Use Gamma. Oh, that's a good tip. Use Gamma for the AI sketch. Is that what they're saying?
Look at that.
Isn't that cool?
That is freaking awesome.
So send that on a postcard or on a note card.
You wouldn't do that for a geo farm unless Ryan and the thanks team are able to build something out. But
this is where
the
I'm
house,
I'd like to make this a feature. So like you would choose here when you're building it, you'd say send sketch version.
Isabel, what do you recommend if you don't have a nice photo of the homeowner's home? It's pulling the Google Street View or the Google Map View. We're giving you exceptions to where you might put in a photo manually, but the use case here is you're just going to use the system and it's going to send it out. If you're in a rural area, you might use the map view. So it's the overhead view. But if you're in a pretty populated area, most of the street view images that are being populated there are pretty good. And also what their house looks like. It's like you looking in the mirror. The point of this is the pattern interrupt to get their attention, to get them to read the copy. And Aaron asked a question that I'm going to dive a little deeper on because I think it matters about let me find it here. Individualized to the recipient. So not only can you individualize with their image, but you can merge in all the different data, right? So you can merge in their address, you can merge in their name, you can do other stuff with the custom tags as well. So for example, the new construction funnel that I've got going, we could add a custom field that we have messaging on the back that is around PS. Would you like the up to the minute list of all builder incentives available for new construction homes here in Mechanicsburg? And it's Mechanicsburg. But I could also I've got a campaign that I don't currently have running, but I have one running for Carlisle. So then I could have it so that it dynamically updates for that. And having something on the back of the card that matches the target audience and gives them a very compelling reason for them to reach out to you directly, that's the kind of thing that you really want to think through here that could get you an extra lift, right? Because the scans are great. The scans are cool. It gives you an idea of who might be interested, their action takers, etc. But ultimately, wouldn't you also like some people directly calling or texting? But you've got to make a compelling offer.
I don't know. I'm just bringing it up. I'm proud of this one.
Yeah.
You got to hit people with as few words as possible with something cool.
Yeah.
Who wants a free pie?
Yeah, I love it. Absolutely. Yeah. So Isabel said, so I can use the aerial view instead of the home if there's a truck blocking part of the view of the home. Sure. But you're assuming that you're going to manually do all of these. You're going to have to choose it for it. And also, you shouldn't care. I'm being honest. That's not your fault. That's the Google Street View of their home. And if they call you complaining about that, I'm sorry, Mr. Seller. That's you happen to have a truck in front of your house when Google clipped the Street View. I get where you're coming from, Isabel, but the point of this is to not be getting in the weeds on every individual recipient of this stuff. This is the way you can think about this in two ways. Number one, if you're doing ideas like 1, 2, or 3, the QR code scans are like running a Facebook lead ad just in somebody's inbox, or not inbox, in their mailbox, right? 1, 2, and 3. 4 and actually maybe even 4. 5 is strategically retargeting them in real life, IRL, not digitally, right? Not on websites. Like you're retargeting their mailbox.
I would find it hard to believe that if you got 40 of these scans and you showed up at every house and you door knocked with a packet, that good stuff wouldn't happen. I know it's work, but hey, I'm just following up on your home value request. Here's a more detailed report. 40 people. Can you get one of those will turn into a listing, if not right away in the next couple of years.
And if you don't want to do that, you send them a personal video message by email and or text, whatever you can find on them. And you don't have to leave your house, and you're creating a personalized impression with them. I'm saying that because I won't do the 40 drop-bys or pop-bys. Some will. Some will. What's that?
Or if you have an assistant that you're looking for stuff for them to do, and you just tell them, hey, hit 2 of these people a day. It depends on the geography of where you are in your target market, but it might be easier to do for some than others. Totally. But could you take this one postcard, the home value, send it once a month to your farm to 500 people? They see it 12 times a year. They're eventually going to relent and scan. They're going to see your name 12 times. And on the scanners, go and shake their hands in person. I don't know. It seems like a game plan. It's an evolved way to do old school door knocking.
Yeah. Yep. Celeste said you can upload your own photo or professional photo. Absolutely.
Yes.
And so I'll tie it back to one of the ideas in here. So when we're talking about just listed, pending, and just sold, if I'm sending all 3 in the series, one of them I'm probably, I would guess, and I didn't do this for this particular listing on my own, just from a timing perspective, it just happened very quickly that we ended up listing it. But the just listed, it makes sense to have the professional photo that you have of the listing, right? Because we're talking about that specific property. But the pending and just sold can just be their property, and you're using the copy to refer back to the property that you just helped go pending under contract, and then the property that you just helped sell. Brian's taking the happy house anniversary with
All right, I'm doing this
sketch.
really crudely because I'm doing it live. Yeah. It doesn't look great, but I took the sketched image. I opened the Canva tie-in with thanks. Took the sketched image of their house, click save postcard, and this will just zap it right into thanks, and you could just send it out as a standalone.
Aaron, my brokerage is pretty bougie, in particular about the marketing that is sent out. Is there a way to make it more of a luxury feel? Ryan, what do you call the thing where you guys turn on the nicer printing or whatever?
Oh, yeah, so we have higher quality. It's called Print Protect. It's in the setting. It'll just make it more glossy. But if you're referring to the actual image template with the picture of the house, that can have your logo on it, can have whatever you want, or you can design any image you want with Canva. It's totally free. The only thing I'd say is that most, I work at a big corporation who has a lot of brand standards and have to deal with this as a direct response marketer every day because I just want to put an ugly arrow pointing to the thing. But there's a way around that. It's use the company provided logos, stick with the color schemes, and then all the other elements we're showing here, just make sure they're there and don't let the branding distract from the message is what I would say.
And Aaron, if you have something specific that you'd like to do or create, just reach out to Ryan or I, or we can get together with you to make sure that it would fit those brand standards and make sure that if we turn on the Print Protect, the quality of the piece that's delivered just is it's a little more expensive, but it ensures that it's a little bit better quality.
Sorry, I was just showing the wrong brokerage there, Josh.
Yeah, whatever.
Of a company logo. Whatever. But yeah, and also whoever was asking about that, the team at Thanks will design stuff for you if you need it. If you need a custom underlay that goes out on all your cards, we can do that for you.
Yep. In wrapping up here, a couple of things. Number one, if you need a copy of the document that we were referencing, you can comment below, you can email me or shoot me a DM. I'll get you a copy of that. And I will add to that some other examples. For instance, the pending postcard that I'll be sending later today or tomorrow at the latest. There are also resources in that document that I would strongly encourage you to check out. And if you want to leverage our 5-figure per month marketing team to build out and scale an entire client acquisition system, just check out buildwithjosh.com. Watch the video there and then schedule a time where we can chat and create a strategy specifically for you and your target audience, target market, etc., that you'd like to build a pipeline around. Several of you asking for the document. Let me just grab that and drop it in here live in the Zoom room for those that are asking and are still in here. And if you're watching after the fact, just drop a comment below or email me at josh@growwithjosh.com, and I'm happy to share that document. Ryan, this was the example of the 600 sends with the 47 scans, right?
This is a different one. This one did 27 for 473, about 6%. But I'm just showing it again to just say, I know we're giving a lot of options here, but I have high confidence that if you just sent this card to people multiple times a year, good things would happen.
Yeah.
And a good place to start would be like 100 of your existing contacts who you know own a home, friends and family,
and you could send the same postcard with slightly different copy.
Yeah.
And you could even, Ryan, there are 4 versions of the full image, right? So it's just like this, the QR code is in a different spot. So if you don't want it to look exactly the same, there are some easy ways to do that. And what I would say is the copy is important, right? You want to have good copy, but it doesn't have to be the greatest copy ever. What is making this work is that there's some call to action and it's their property on the card. That's what is creating the pattern interrupt. And the reality is the response rate, I'm sure, is higher because more people are looking at the card before depositing it in the circular file. It's hard not to at least look at a card that's got your house on it.
Capital One sends me the same credit card offer every week for years. Josh, I'm a Capital One customer. I think they started sending those before I came on. I don't know why they got an account there. The stuff just works over time.
No doubt. So last thing I'll say is if you're excited about all this, but you just don't know where to start, schedule a time to chat with me at josh15.com and let's dial in one place to start. So I'll ask you a bunch of questions and then I'll say, if I were you, this is what I would do. And you can get our help to do that or not, right? But I'm happy to chat with any and all of you to help dial in the strategy of what would make the most sense if this is something that you're interested in. And then also know that you don't have to worry about the tech overwhelm of this stuff. If you've got the budget and we get clarity around which of those 5 use cases makes the most sense for you to start with, we can help in one way or another so that you don't have to be the one clicking the buttons and doing this, that, and the other thing. And Ryan's got my calendar up there. Yep. It's just josh15.com. And if you can't find a time or whatever, it's not loading for you, just literally call or text me, 717-571-0456. That's my personal cell phone, 717-571-0456. I get at least one agent a week is this actually you? That's silly to me. Why? Our job is to answer our phones. Like, that's the business we're in. So yeah, if you call or text me, you'll get me. It won't be some VA or assistant or anything.
I love the Richard tip, inside information.
Yeah, I always get I have tried some pretty aggressive marketing strategies over the years, and I've just learned that here in Central PA, sometimes I can create some additional stress or tension unnecessarily if I'm not careful about how things are worded and expressed. But I'm sure there's a way I can come up with to create curiosity without getting me reported to the real estate board.
Yeah, you live in a unique.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure I'm not the only one.
No.
But Celeste, this is great. I do have to leave soon because I've got 2 appointments this afternoon. But I thought Thanks.io was a greeting card company, which is why I didn't reach out already. So glad to learn what this service can do. We'll start next week. I'm going to celebrate Celeste. This is multiple weeks in a row that Celeste was on here, even though she had preconceived notions about what we were talking about. For example, last week on Wednesday, we had Paul Frank, and we were talking about commercial real estate, and Celeste said, I almost didn't want to come because I have no interest in commercial real estate. But the main point of that is to create referral opportunities from your existing clients so that you can take advantage of the fact that some of your existing clients or people they know have commercial real estate needs, and you can refer that business just like You can refer, for example, yesterday I sent a referral to a great EXP agent in Rapid City, South Dakota, because the text script that I mentioned that I used yesterday got me a hand raiser who is looking to sell her current house in Rapid City and move back to Central PA. She used to live in the Harrisburg area and she wants to move back. So you can create those kind of opportunities on the commercial side and refer that and never have to have any clue how to manage a commercial real estate transaction. Celeste, good on you for coming and showing up, even though you thought this might not be relevant or interesting to you.
Inside information.
Oh, yes.
I like it. I'm going to use it.
Yeah. David, I'll get with you after the fact. And Joe is going to be on next week. And they've been going through some significant updates and upgrades to the platform. So some of that setup questioning and best practices are changing somewhat.
I'm literally my hair out. It doesn't make sense on how they've got it. The videos don't make sense really to me. And
okay.
a couple of weeks on trying it, and then I pushed off the side. I'm like, shit, I got to get back to this because I've got plenty of people I can send these offers to, but it's frustrating. So I don't want to.
You talking about thanks?
No. Hey, David. Okay. So in the short term, we can get something going for you this week. Shoot me a text after this and let's schedule a Zoom so I can see what you're seeing and we can at least make some progress before we have Joe on next week. So we can get you at least able to use the instant offer generator and your link with KB Core to drive people to the dashboard as well.
All right. I'll do that now. Thank you.
Perfect. I will not be sending a postcard that looks like this. That is guaranteed to get me in hot water here in Central PA. One last thing I'll say on direct mail before we bounce. Similarly to when you use a text script like I mentioned earlier, would you be at all open to entertaining offers on your property at X whatever? When you send direct mail, just like when you send those messages, ignore the trolls. Do not waste your energy and efforts on the people that have nothing better to do than just try and make your life miserable. I can't tell you how many times people call me flipping out because I sent them a piece of direct mail. I guarantee those people are not calling Capital One, and I'm not doing anything even remotely illegal or immoral or unethical. So focus. What you focus on expands. Focus on the good results that you get when you use the strategies that we share here and just remove the negativity if and when it happens from your life. You can delete people from a mailing list just like you can delete a contact in KB Core or unsubscribe them in KB Core. Like you can do all of that the same way in the platform. Don't let that keep you from taking action.
If you want to be passive aggressive in a nice way, send them an Eckhart Tolle video or Joe Dispenza or somebody.
And one other thing with this, who I would call like the godfather of direct response marketing, Dan Kennedy. I forget the exact quote, but I like internalized this very early on in my entrepreneurial pursuits. And it was something to the effect, if you're not pissing people off by noon every day with your marketing, you're not marketing hard enough, right? It's just the reality of any business, right? To get clients, you're going to somehow be polarizing, and you want to polarize the right people and you want to repel the wrong people. So anyway, now what are we looking at? You got
that pretty good, Josh.
Yeah. What are we looking at?
I was just looking for that quote. This is just a guy who was talking about it on his Facebook.
Gotcha.
I trust the source. It's just some random dude on Facebook.
Yeah, exactly.
He must have gotten the quote.
All right. So next week, we're going to dig into iList, what it is, how to use it. You can get a free trial in the interim. I will have some very specific action plans that you can follow to actually use the tool to create conversations and listing opportunities from any of the existing homeowners that you have. And even if you don't have any existing homeowners, like end to end, here's exactly what to do and what to say to get yourself in front of them, or get yourself a phone call, or get yourself a Zoom appointment with these sellers. And it ties very nicely into this strategy because in my experience, the best thing to send your scanners to is that interactive dashboard of their specific property. So look forward to that next week. Schedule a time to chat. If you want some help strategy-wise, josh15.com. Check out buildwithjosh.com as well. And if you want the document that we shared and we're going through here, just drop a comment below, shoot me a DM, or send me an email.
All right. See you guys. Thanks. 12 o'clock.
Thanks, Ryan.